Hello everyone, my name is LYNN CURLEE. I would like to tell you about my latest book. It's called The Great Nijinsky, God of Dance. It's a biography for young adults of the great dancer and star of the Ballet Russe, Vaslav Nijinsky. His career and period of great fame were during the years right before the technology of motion pictures made it possible to preserve performances. There are no films of Nijinsky dancing, but he has the reputation of being the greatest dancer of them all. Why a book about Nijinsky? Here are the words of a dance critic. Nijinsky's life commands our attention by the sheer romantic force of its events. What a story this is. An awkward young boy who practically overnight becomes a world-famous dancer, then creates 3 ballets that change dance history, then jilts the world's foremost ballet impresario, switches sexual orientations, marries a groupie, and then goes raving mad, not without leaving behind an account of his conversations with God and a thorough inventory of his sexual practices. Born in 1889, Vaslav Nijinsky came of age in the era right before the First World War. He was a ballet dancer with impeccable technique, a great artist who radiated extraordinarily powerful charisma on stage. He became a gifted choreographer, touched with undeniable genius. He was only 20 years old when he became the world-famous star of the Ballet Russe, the most important and innovative theatrical enterprise of the early 20th century. He performed and choreographed ballets to some of the very greatest musical masterpieces composed in that era. This is why his life is important historically. In spite of his artistry and fame, Nijinsky was painfully awkward in social situations, to the point of being regarded as dull or even stupid by some who met him. He was obsessed with sex, but deeply conflicted. Beginning in his late teens, he entered into homosexual relationships with older men, first with a Russian prince and then with Sergei Diaghilev, who was just then beginning his storied career as a ballet impresario. Diaghilev made Nijinsky a star. But Nijinsky was not exclusively gay. He also sometimes sought the services of female prostitutes. Eventually, he renounced his homosexuality and impulsively married a young woman, a groupie he barely knew, and eventually fathered 2 children. But during his years with the Ballet Russe, living openly as the companion of Diaghilev, he was one half of the most famous and notorious gay couple of the entire Edwardian era. The whiff of scandal became part of the legend. As a result, he has in retrospect become an exceedingly important gay icon. This is why his life is particularly relevant to many people. Nijinsky's actual career with the Ballet Russe lasted only for 5 years, but that was enough to secure his legendary, almost mythic reputation as the greatest of all dancers. He was a choreographer of startling originality, hailed by many as the inventor of modern dance. When he married impulsively, Diaghilev, outraged and humiliated, fired him. Nijinsky's career was effectively over. Within a year, Europe was engulfed by war, and Nijinsky was confined in a kind of house arrest as a prisoner of war. He was totally dedicated to his art, but without a job, he was completely unequipped to fend for himself as a free agent. Eventually, his internal conflicts, the unrelenting carnage of the war, years of inactivity when he should have been in his prime, a difficult, self-involved wife, and perhaps a genetic predisposition tipped him over the edge. At the age of 30, Nijinsky went stark, raving mad, living the entire second half of his life as a semi-invalid lunatic. He experienced the grandest heights of artistic and professional success and the profoundest depths of personal tragedy. This is why his life is so incredibly fascinating. In the early 1970s, I was a young man living in New York City, trying to establish myself as a professional artist. I was inspired by vintage photographs of Nijinsky to make a series of life-sized paintings of dancers from the Ballet Russe. A one-man show of these paintings, in 1974 marked my first real professional success. Subsequently, I made my living as a gallery artist. But in the 1990s, I began a second career as an author-illustrator of nonfiction books for older children. In 2008, Nijinsky once again became my subject for paintings. As I worked on a new series of 6, the idea took hold to make a book about Nijinsky. As I worked on the manuscript, ever so gradually, the project evolved from being a picture book for older kids to the final result, a fully rigged, illustrated biography for young adults with my old and new Nijinsky paintings included. After 45 years as a professional artist, my career as an author-illustrator has merged with my career as a painter, and my work has come full circle. Behind me here, you'll see one of the 15 paintings that are included in the great Nijinsky God of Dance. There's a portrait of the impresario of the Ballet Russe, Sergei Diaghilev, with his impressive white quiff of hair, and Igor Stravinsky, the great composer who made his reputation with 3 of the greatest ballet scores ever written, The Firebird, Petrushka, and The Rite of Spring, with choreography by Nijinsky, and which was so revolutionary that it caused an actual riot in the theater at its first performance. So, bottom line, Nijinsky's life story has been called one of the best true stories in the world. Its plot is so sensational as to seem incredible. While not for young children because of the explicit nature of its adult themes, the great Nijinsky, God of Dance, may be of interest to anyone, teens or adults, who love the arts, the theater, dance, or music. I hope you will take a look. Thank you very much.